Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My younger sister, Jessica, is, and always was, like my mom from head to toe, unlike me. This became the cause of my mother's resentment towards me. By being like my mom, what I mean is that Jessica was selfish, greedy, entitled, jealous, and plain vile, while I was quiet, reserved, private, and non confrontational as my dad. So you guys can only imagine with Jessica and mom being the way they were, my family life was a mess from the get go and the perfect recipe for disaster. When my mom realized that Jessica was the carbon copy of her, I promptly stopped being taken care of, and me being the way I am, I never told my dad, who was always out of the country for business. I just played along with the act my mom put up of playing happy family around dad, only for me to be treated as absolute garbage once he left. I stayed quiet throughout it all, though, because I didn't want the very few weeks that my dad spent here to be in agony or trying to sort out the problems between my mom and me. Eventually, college came around. That is where I met the person who I thought was my soulmate, the love of my life, and my forever. I began dating Scott, and he truly changed who I was as a person. He helped me become more in touch with my emotions, helped me open up and learn to understand that everything that happened to me wasn't my fault. I really thought after my dad, he was one of the only people I could trust. It was around the same time that Jessica got pregnant with her first child. Yes, she was 17, and decided to keep it with her then boyfriend. The contact between Jessica, my mom, and I dwindled from there, and eventually I graduated from college. This is where, once again, I had to start playing happy family, though because my dad had finally taken an earlier retirement from his business. This is where Jessica first met Scott. The two had a very formal relationship all throughout the years. Jessica, in fact, seemed happy for me, so much so that while she was getting married to the guy she had her first child with and was pregnant with her second, she gave a +1 to get Scott along with me. I was honestly happy with this revelation because even though I knew most of it was due to the fact that my dad was paying for the wedding, I was simply just happy to be treated as a normal human being with some level of dignity and respect. So, Jessica finally moves out of my parents' place and into her husband's house. I think to myself, what can go wrong from here on? Of course, Jessica being Jessica, it doesn't take long for her to ruin her relationship. Her reasoning for getting a divorce was apparently the fact that her husband wasn't enough for her. She came running back to my parents, now with two children on tow. My dad was already pretty mad at Jessica's decision, but kept quiet when my mom told her about Jessica's declining mental health. I don't think it'll take a genius to find out that this is what became the prime reason for my mom and Jessica to excuse her shitty behavior from here onwards, and they really milked it. Starting from day one, I got engaged to Scott. I still remember how it all went down. I had made a Facebook post as an announcement, and my phone and I immediately started flooding with calls and texts from Jessica, not to congratulate me, but to scream at me and berate me for getting married when she was going through so much. I was dumbfounded because it had almost been an entire year since she had gotten divorced, but nope, that wasn't enough. I tried to come up with a middle ground to sort this situation. My dad was out of town during this scene, so of course, my mom and Jessica took full advantage of this, telling me that if I was a good sister, I wouldn't get married for at least another 3 years. I was lost. This became a point of contention between the three of us. Scott always told me that he would agree with whatever I did, so I thought I really had his support. Unfortunately, support was far from it all because just a couple of months down the line, I caught him lying to me that he was going to work while he was out clubbing with none other than Jessica. I immediately confronted my mom. I knew I was coming to my wits' end, and what my mom said next made me get to my worst point. She told me that it was my fault that my fiance was out with other women. Jessica had done nothing wrong because she was just trying to cope up. I was astonished at this woman's entitlement and knew that I had to ruin her life. So I first collected as much evidence as I possibly could from my texts and emails with Jessica and my mom. The texts were so many that I didn't even have to explain anything myself. I first sat my dad down and told him everything, from the start till the end, the threats and the photos my friends had taken of the two kissing, etc. My dad was enraged. I don't think I've ever seen him this angry before. He immediately confronted my mom and Jessica, and the three of them got into a huge fight where my dad practically kicked the two out of his house. The next thing I did was just a shot in the dark. I just knew Jessica's youngest did not look an inch like her ex husband. So I emailed her anonymously about getting a DNA test. I honestly did not expect anything to come out of this one, but to my utter surprise, it only took a mere weeks for her ex husband to call her up and inform her that he was dragging her back to the court because both the children weren't his. Jessica was left weeping bitter crocodile tears because now she has close to no walking bank accounts to take advantage of because I did this to her last resort. Aka Scott. I knew ruining Scott would be easy. I simply just posted the picture of Jessica and him kissing in the family and friends group chat with no context. Everyone knew what was up. And it was like, ever since then, Scott's life has been a mess. His family refuses to take him into their place after I kicked him out, and is also looking into kicking him out of the family business he used to work in. Our friends refuse to talk to him too, and so, of course, since misery loves company, my mom, Jessica, and him have been living in this rundown apartment. All of this happened within the span of 3 months, and I know the aftermath of this all is much more. I was proud of myself for taking revenge for everyone who had wronged me. But now that the ego boost is wearing off, I can't help but feel tremendously guilty for ruining the lives of 3 people. Was I the a-hole? I first want to thank you all for your amazing comments. Whether they were calling me the a-hole or were full of support, I think they were eye-opening regardless. I guess a lot of you were right. I really just needed some company and someone to talk to about this situation because all this time I only let it all play out without venting out my heart to anyone. I thought about it all, and I believe that my dad, Jessica's ex-husband, and other people involved in this situation who might be going through similar feelings as I am would be the best people to talk about this situation too, and I was right. The discussion between my dad and I revealed a lot, and honestly, it just made me realize how much my dad is like me. When we sat down over a cup of coffee, I expressed my heartbreak and guilt over this situation. And he very promptly started telling me about his experience with infidelity. He explained to me how Jessica wasn't his bio daughter, in fact, and was a result of my mom's cheating. He only stayed with her because he knew my mom would separate him from me and Jessica both. I was stunned. It was like I had gotten some closure that I had been seeking for years. Both my dad and I sort of teared up as I rested my hand on top of his, and he told me that he was proud of me for fighting what was right instead of being scared to face what life had to offer, like him. I gave him a hug and told him that he did everything he possibly could. We then just sat and talked a bit about our plans ahead. Ever since then, I've been feeling like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I know this feeling will increase as I talk to more and more people about this situation. For now, though, this is all I have to update you guys on. We'll post again if something happens. I finally ended up meeting Jessica's husband, and I feel like this meeting was some sort of a slap in the face that I desperately needed. Well, Jessica's husband, Alex, told me that Jessica's second child actually belonged to Scott. I was left with my jaw dropping on the floor because it clicked to me how much her son actually looked like him. Alex told me that he wasn't really going to tell me this, but upon hearing about my condition and guilt from my dad, God bless his heart, he told me that he thought I deserved this closure because he knew Scott would never tell me this while looking into my eyes. He was right. It now made sense why Scott moved in with Jessica and my mom, and honestly, once again, I just feel like my guilt has started to fade away. A man like Scott and a woman like Jessica and my mom truly do not deserve anything good in life. After my voyage of seeking closure from one person after the other, I came to the decision that I needed a change of air and just wanted to move. Somewhere far away for a while, and very luckily, my company offered me an opening they had in Europe, which I have decided to take up. My dad, too, has decided to move into one of his other houses outside the state while filing for a divorce from my mom. Thankfully, they have had a prenuptial agreement, so my dad isn't looking to suffer any major losses from his divorce. Furthermore, according to our mutual friends, from what Scott has told them, he has been running like he's seen the plague ever since Jessica told him that the baby is his. It's really funny because it only goes to show how he would be if we ever got married and had kids of our own someday. Once again, making me glad that the trash took itself out. Thank you all for being here and supporting me through my journey. NTA, with your mom, Jessica, and Scott acting the way they were, these things were bound to happen to them, and honestly, I firmly believe that this is just the beginning of their downfall. Don't make yourself feel guilty, OP. NTA, I don't see what OP did wrong. What I'm really weirded out about is the dad who has been blind to this, all to the point that OP literally had to sit down and tell him about everything. Regardless, glad he stood up for OP. I am 22 now and currently working as a software programmer. The pay is good, but due to the nature of my job, I gained a lot of weight. I don't really like sports, and other exercises such as jogging or cycling don't really motivate me. To overcome this, I worked as a cleaner at the local mall for 5 hours a day for Saturday and Sunday. I worked from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the weekend. I do various tasks such as cleaning the window, mopping the floor, sweeping the floor, etc. The pay is not bad, to be honest, and the best thing is after working for 2 months, my weight actually reduced from 100 kilograms to like 96 kilograms. My supervisor at the cleaner job is really good, and he always treats us with nice things like food or movie tickets. I made a lot of friends too, from various backgrounds. Since I am working near my neighborhood, a lot of people I know will see me cleaning in the mall. Thus, they have begun to gossip that I lost my job. The gossips are I faked my degree, I have gambling debt, which is why I need to work 2 jobs. My parents don't really like this and advise me to stop my cleaning job as I am affecting my own reputation and image. Even my smallest sibling got teased by saying their brother worked as a cleaner and low class. Even some of my friends don't want to be with me anymore due to me being a cleaner. Like when they see me in the mall, I say hi and they act like they don't even know me. I told my parents I like my job and it benefits my health. I asked them, I don't care about the gossip. They are not good people. I say, as long as what I do is legal, what right do they have to look down on me? Am I the a hole to keep my cleaning job and cause my family to handle the shame of me working as a cleaner? Edited the part where I wrote I faked my degree and I have gambling debt. I don't have those. It's the rumors. I wrote it wrongly and confusing originally. Sorry. NTA, NTA, NTA. We as a society need to drop this attitude. There is nothing low class about any job that needs to get done. If anything, I respect those workers more than the asshats in suits doing jack shit to help anyone. NTAOP and good for you on choosing a job to help you get more physical activity for your health. That's genius. NTA, I admire you because you found an amazing solution for your health with money, social benefits. The benefits and the new people you're getting to know, it's worthy. Who cares if a couple of AHs in your town like gossip because they have no life? If you keep not caring about them, you've won in so many ways. Ha ha ha. Hi all. I'm a 29-year-old female, have been with my husband, 30 male, for 10 years, and married for a few years now. We've had a rocky relationship on and off because he has a serious passion for a specific sport, and I often feel like I'm second best to said sport. Not only does he have a job working in his sports industry, but he helps coach a team and during their season has practice 3 to 4 days a week and for about half the day on Saturday. On top of this, he is constantly traveling for events during this season, at least 4 multi-day trips, usually more like 6 to 8, and 2 of them are major events, and he's gone 4 to 5 days. I work 2 jobs, part time in retail, food service, and full time as a custodian for a school. Because of this, I get the same breaks as the kids. My husband's 30th birthday is soon, and honestly, my field is barren. I have always gone all out for his birthday. I plan parties, make his favorite meal and dessert, buy him presents and cards, plan trips, plan events with all his friends like laser tag. The only time we did something low key was during the pandemic. OTOH, my birthday falls right around the 3/4 mark of his sports season, and we haven't ever done anything special for my birthday that I haven't planned. And the last thing I planned was in 2017. He always gets me some presents and a card, but there's no party, no trips, nothing big because he's always too busy with his sport. Most of the time, he misses my birthday itself because he either has practice or he's away at an event. This year, I have 2 weeks off right after my birthday for spring break, and I wanted to do something for my birthday. He asked me about a month ago to pick the sports events that work best with our schedule. Needed to pick 2 and a backup out of a list of 5 or 6. I said I didn't care, just specifically didn't want the event that is the weekend in the middle of my break. Well, guess what? All the other events were full, so they signed up for the one I specifically didn't want. I'm so frustrated by this, and as a result, I just honestly haven't cared about his birthday this year. We're going on a trip across the country for a big sports event for his birthday, and outside of that, I haven't done anything. No present, no card, I didn't plan a party, etc. He gave me 24-hour notice that he wanted to have a small get-together with some work friends and other coaches of his team, and 6-hour notice that this get-together would be at our house. We cleaned the house, went shopping, and I made some of his favorite party food as well as his favorite dessert. The entire time, I honestly felt like the maid. We played some party games, and I didn't understand most of their inside jokes, references. They talked basically the whole time about their sport, and I just ended up feeling left out. So, WIBTA if I didn't do anything else to celebrate his birthday? I'm just so burnt out, feeling like I put in all the effort and it's never reciprocated. But I also recognize that I'm a highly sensitive person and I have autism, so I don't know if this is me overreacting. ETA, I have put effort into becoming involved in his sport before, but I just don't really like it. I spent several years doing odd volunteer jobs or being a ref, and it's just not my thing. And it's not something I want to pour myself into because it's not a passion of mine. ETA 2. I guess I should include that we have talked about his over dedication to his sport many, many times while dating, while engaged, and while married. This is not something I've just been stewing over for a decade and getting progressively more pissed off. We've talked about it so much, I am not sure what is left to say on the topic. But maybe we aren't talking about the right things because nothing ever significantly changes. ETA 3. Taken from a comment describing how his involvement has changed over our relationship, he wasn't this into it, correct? At first, he was just a coach, and then he got a job at a company involved with his sport. And then he began coaching there too. And then he had to travel more. And then his company started doing their own mini sport event, which he's now involved in. I feel like it's just spiraled to be his entire life, and it wasn't always like that. NTA, you said it yourself, you feel burnt out. From what you already said, you're the one putting all this effort into his birthdays, but he isn't even coming close to putting any effort into yours. Don't work yourself to death over his birthdays. Doing something nice and small is just as good. It's always the thought that counts. I also don't think it's just about his birthday. Your marriage is also at risk. It's been 10 years and he is so focused on his sport. You feel like second place. You both need to communicate these issues. NTA, you think your problem is the birthday, but it's your marriage.